What is going on, everybody? Crazy Dog back with another Cleveland Cavaliers free agent target video for you guys on this July 3rd. Of course, the day before the 4th of July. And I don't know about you guys, but I would love to see some fireworks from Koby Altman over these next couple days. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a Dean Wade trade, or maybe they get bold and they trade like Max Strus for a backup center or something, help out this team a little bit. Or how about we go out and make a signing that nobody saw coming? Although, to be honest, that was kind of Larry Nance, right? Although, yeah, we didn't see it coming, but let's be honest here, that was the most obvious signing ever. Like, everybody saw that coming. It's just that we didn't see it happening right now, right? Especially at that price. Because remember, in my last video that I did talking about free agent targets, I had Larry Nance as a old target, thinking, oh yeah, he would probably want to come here for more than the vet min. Well, believe it or not, he came here for about $2 million. That just goes to show how much he freaking loves Cleveland, the Cavaliers, and this fan base. Like, he loves us so much, he decided, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice a couple $1 million. I'm going to go play with my favorite team, my dad's team. Literally, his dad's number is hanging in the rafters. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be wearing his dad's number once again, which I'm sure will feel hella good for him and his father. And he'll be able to play in front of his hometown team again. That'll be fun. I can't wait to see him possibly posterize somebody, right? And hopefully Bleacher Report refrains from posting another kind of cringe-ass freaking edit again. We all remember the edit that Bleacher Report made years ago of Larry Nance posterizing somebody, and then he transformed into Patrick Star. That was the most out of nowhere edit ever. It's like, where did that come from? Who thought of it? Well, let's have Larry Nance dunk on somebody and then turn into Patrick Star. Like, what? Huh? But yeah, in this video, I'm going to talk about players who I think the Cavs could sign to fill the 14th and eventually the 15th spot on this roster this season. Now, you look at Koby Altman's tendencies when it comes to filling up this roster. Usually, in years past, he'll go into the season with 14 players, and then at some point, mainly like mid-March, going into April, he'll go out and he'll get somebody off waivers or maybe off the buyout market post-trade deadline, or he'll straight up sign someone off the street to fill up the 15th spot. But yeah, as you can see above, once again, I got another tier maker made. So we got the 4 categories this time. Logical targets, bold targets like before, locker room, essentially dudes who would be good locker room presences on this team, guys who we wouldn't really expect to play at all, like they'd be a bona fide coach. And then trade targets, guys that I think the Cavs could potentially trade for. So with that being said, let's get right into it. And we're going to start off with Amir Coffey. Now, by the way, shout out to my guy Mac Perry on Twitter. He has a podcast, It's Cavalier Podcast, dope ass thing. He's got his own YouTube channel too. He just made a video about Amir Coffey. So where would I put Amir Coffey? I just put him at somewhat bold, right? I think he would love to come play here, but the price. Would he be willing to come here for the vet min? Because that's all we can offer. That's all we can offer at this point, right? And I just don't know if he'd be willing to come play here for like $3 million or less. I just don't know. So if he'd be down, I would love it. I really would. Next, we got James Johnson. Yeah, this is a locker room guy. Straight up. He's a locker room guy. He's a guy that, like Tristan Thompson, you wouldn't really see much of. Maybe in a blowout, or if someone tried to get scrappy with our guys, we would send him out there and he would just, wail on him one time, get double T, and then get tossed. I don't know. Oh, man, he's the guy that you'd send out there because, he's that guy when it comes to being an enforcer. You don't see those kind of guys anymore. An enforcer that you would literally send out there to get 5 fouls and just wreak havoc. If guys were getting scrappy, right? Yeah, that's exactly what he would be. A good locker room presence and a guy that you probably wouldn't see much of, if at all. Next, Chris Boucher. Now, in my last video, I had him as a bold target, and that hasn't changed. I have him even more bold than Amir Coffey because I think he's going to want a good contract. I don't think he'd come here for the minimum. Unless his market dries up and the allure of playing for a championship just overwhelms his, cash demand, then, yeah, I don't see him coming here unless, something crazy happens. Like somehow we open up cap space, which we're not going to be able to do that unless we really get drastic. We are literally ass deep in the second apron. We are in the second apron. Over like $20 million. It's crazy. Kobe, we're supposed to get out of the second apron, not get deeper. Like you're doing. We're supposed to back up, not go forward. What are we doing, brother? All right, but yeah, Chris Boucher, you already know I talked about him in my last free agent video. I would love him. I wanted him at the trade deadline, but I think he's going to want a decent contract, more than the minimum, so I put him in the bold category still. Next, I'm going back to the locker room with PJ Tucker. Now, I think PJ is more playable than James Johnson, so I'm going to move him ahead of James. But again, he would only come here mainly for a locker room presence and maybe like a rare appearance on the court in a blowout. So, I don't know exactly what his preferences would be. But again, I wouldn't mind bringing him in. Same thing with the next guy, Taj Gibson. I'm going to put him between PJ and James Johnson. Another old head. He would come in, be a deep depth option, like break in case of emergency, right? Let's say Allen got sick, Mobley's banged up, Larry's injured again, and you need a center. Oh, look, Taj Gibson just so happens to be sitting there on the bench. Hey, Taj, get in there. Ah, man, but again, just like PJ and James Johnson, I think he'd be willing to come here and be a good veteran locker room option. Next, we got Al Horford. And just like last time, I still have him as a logical target even after we got Larry Nance. Imagine we double down on shooting big men. I think he actually wants to have a legit role, so I don't see him coming here. So you're going to see him start fading down this list hella quick. And by the way, the further to the left a player is, that is the most legit target I think we could get. Attainable. Yeah. So the most logical target, the least bold target, borderline bold logical, and then the guy that's locker room, probably the most attainable. He could actually play a little bit too. And then trade target, you already know. All right, next we got Ben Simmons. Remember, he was available, I believe, via buyout. And the Cavs were one of his finalists next to the Clippers. And he chose the Clippers over the Cavs. And I really wasn't mad about it. So this time around, I'm going to say I'll put him in semi-logical. Yeah. I think he'll be a logical target, but I don't know if he's the most logical target because of his injury history. And he still can't shoot. Ay, man. That's crazy. All right, next we got Bismack Biyombo. And as you can imagine, I have him as my most logical target right now. He'd be the perfect depth big man behind Jarrett and even Larry, right? Come in for a little bit, get some minutes, get some boards, rebound, maybe block some shots. That dude was a freaking menace with Toronto a few years ago. Remember that? When LeBron would always face the Raptors? He was an absolute menace on the boards. I would love to have that kind of guy on my team, right? Yeah. I would love to have that kind of guy on my team. Next, we have DeLon Wright. I'm going to put him right between. I have him more as a DG replacement. Obviously, Darius is not going to be available for the first month of the season after undergoing turf toe surgery, the same surgery that Triple J just had. So he'll be out probably until November. And even when he does come back, I can imagine they're probably going to ease him into it. So it'd be smart to have a legit, depth point guard just in case something happens. Because right now you do have Lonzo, but he's injury prone. You do have technically Spida, but is he really a point guard? I don't know. You have CPJ, who's solid. And then you have the kid Tyrese Proctor. We don't really know what to expect from him yet. So I don't think we want to put too much on the kid's plate just yet. I think DeLon Wright would be a perfect number 2 point guard, number 1 point guard until maybe number 2 next to Lonzo until DG gets back. And then maybe you get rid of DeLon Wright or you trade him for something, whatever, It'll be interesting to see what we do to replace, if we replace DG. We might just roll with what we have and just hope to God that Lonzo stays healthy. But that's another reason why I think we would sign another point guard like DeLon Wright, because Lonzo hasn't played much these last couple of years. We'll see how he looks, though. Going to be interesting. Next, we go back to the locker room category with DeAndre Jordan. And again, he's more playable than the other two. But again, good locker room presence. And I think he could actually log some legit minutes too. Just like PJ. If given the opportunity, I think he could legit log some good minutes. Another break in case of emergency kind of guy, right? In case Jarrett, like I said, gets sick or is hurt. Or if Evan gets hurt and Larry's out, the only center you have. Because you really need 2 for depth. I could see DeAndre being a legit option. I wouldn't mind it at all. I wouldn't mind any of these guys. Next, we're going back to the logical target category with former Warrior Damian Lee. I'm going to put him right ahead of Al. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Damian Lee, but I just don't know about the fit, right? I think he's a good shooter, low-key. He showed flashes with the Warriors. Didn't really see him much with the Suns, though. So I don't really know what to expect from him at this point. But he wouldn't be a horrible option. And then we go back to the logical target with Precious Achiuwa. Bless you. And I already know what you guys are saying. Would I really want Precious? Because imagine me saying Achiuwa, bless you, 82 plus games a year. Oh, hell no. I would be sick and tired of saying that by the second half of game 1. But again, he could come in, get buckets. He's shown that he can be a good player, especially with Toronto. Yeah, he can be really good when he's given the opportunity. But yeah, I don't know about it's all about the opportunity for him. Would he actually be okay again with being a solid number 3 center type? Right? Stretch 4. Would we want another stretch big, or would we want to go legit big man? Hard to say. Next, we got Talen Horton-Tucker. Again, I'm going to put him right ahead of Al and Ben. Put behind Precious. I think, again, another guy that could legit help out without DG. You know, he's decent. He was really good with the Lakers that one time, and again, haven't really heard much from him since. I think he's been with Utah and Chicago since his days in LA. So, yeah, I don't really know how much he's done. Occasionally, he'll have like just that one random game where he just goes off, and then you won't hear his name again for weeks. But if he were to come here, we'd only need him to at least be semi-playable for a month until DG gets back. But even when he does come back, they're probably going to ease him in. So, yeah. Wouldn't mind THT. Next, we got Bol Bol. And I'm going to put him right here. I think, again, he'd be a solid option. He can actually shoot it. And he's a pretty sizable big man. He'd be a perfect backup for Jarrett Allen. Legit. Best part is he can shoot. That's probably my favorite part of him. He can shoot. And then, of course, we have Marvin Bagley, and I'm going to put him over here. I just don't think we actually go after him. I think he wants to have a legit role, I think, to show that he can still do it. And I just don't know if we're going to give it to him. So I'll put him at the very end of the logical. Semi-bold. Next, we have Corey Joseph. And I'm going to put him up here. He's the typical late season addition to fill the hole left by DG's injury. Come in, do some stuff, piss me off every once in a while. Then he'll pull off some crazy game out of nowhere where he just goes off for 20, and then we don't hear from him again the rest of the season. That's just the thing he'd do. He wouldn't be horrible. Next, we have Gary Payton II, and I'm going to actually put him in the bold category. I think he actually wants to have a legit role on a team, and I don't know if we could give that to him. And what about his price tag? I think he's worth more than the minimum. So I think he's going to want to go somewhere where he can get a legit contract, whether it's like the mid-level exception or actual like semi-decent contract. I don't think he'd come here for the minimum. Unless he really wants to play for Kenny, then I could see it. But I don't know. Hard to say with GP2. Now we go back to the locker room with Tristan Thompson. I put him at the very back because, actually, no, I'm going to put him up front. I don't know Kobe's going to sign him back. It's only a matter of time. We're all just waiting for it. Right? It's only a matter of time. They're going to bring him back, whether it's the 14th or 15th spot. They're going to bring him back. It's inevitable. They're going to do it. You know Kobe. He loves to run it back. And I can't wait for this team to lose in 5 games again. Then we'll be right back where we were this offseason. Still with really no cap space. And, more holes to fill. Nice. Next, we have Charles Bassey. And I'm going to put him probably right around here, I think. Put him right here. Again, a guy that really wouldn't see the court much. But I think if given the opportunity, I think he could definitely make some plays and hold it down while Jarrett Allen's getting a breather. That's all we'd really need. We don't need a guy to go out there and be prime Shaq. All we'd need is for him to just go out there and not get cooked until Jarrett comes back in the game. It's that simple. Next, I'm going to go with Lindy Waters, and I'm going to put him right around there. Yeah. Another classic, lower tier, cheap point guard option, I think, to replace DG until he gets back. Or maybe they want to start CPJ, and you just need a third guy just in case. Well, there you go. Lindy Waters is the type of guy. He's like the perfect 14th man on this roster. Next, we go to the trade targets first with Herb Jones and or Yves Missi. I would love one of those two. Now, I don't think we can aggregate money, so I don't think we'd be able to get both. I would love one of those two. You know, you trade Max for Herb Jones, maybe Jarrett Allen for Yves Missi, which they're not going to trade Jarrett, so you can already toss that into the garbage. But still, I would love either one. That'd be a great acquisition. Same thing with this other trade target, Nick Richards. I put him up front because that's the guy I want the most via trade. I want him so freaking bad, but the problem is his freaking GM hates Dan Gilbert. Not GM, owner. But I'm pretty sure Matt Ishbia has instilled his hatred of Dan Gilbert and the Cavs into their GM, Brian Gregory. Shout out to the Suns Valley podcast. Now they got me saying Brian Gregory. Oh, man, but I would love Nick Richards, and if he were somehow bought out, I would snatch him up with the quickness. You know how petty Dan Gilbert is. He would make sure that he wouldn't even hit the market. He'd claim him on waivers. Next, I'm going to go with Torrey Craig. I believe the Cavs actually had interest in him last year before the Celtics picked him up. He'd be a great depth option for the wing, for defensive purposes, like GP2, but way, way cheaper, in my opinion. I would love it. Next, we have possibly one of the most logical DG replacements until he gets back, and that's Markelle Fultz. Yeah, he's a good playmaker with the ball. I don't know how his shooting ability is. I'm pretty sure he's better at shooting than he was a few years ago, especially with the Sixers. His only problem is health. Right? If he can stay healthy, I think he could be a solid option for somebody. I wouldn't mind him as the number 3 or number 4 point guard, an emergency point guard, right? If we wanted to go with that until DG gets back. Next, we have one of my favorite center targets, and that is Thomas Bryant. Even after getting Larry, I would still love a big man. And again, Thomas Bryant fits that to a T. He can shoot. He's great on defense. He can protect the rim. And him and Larry would go so well together out there together as the second unit, giving Evan and Jarrett legit rest. Something that they really haven't been able to fully do. They leave the game for 5 minutes and then they have to come back in because their backup is getting cooked. Right? I mean, look who we've had at backup center the last couple of years. It's mainly been Tristan. Right? Yeah, I mean, I would love a legit backup big man. So Jarrett can actually get rest. After all, he played 82 games last year. It's a lot of wear and tear on your body for sure. Next, this is the boldest of the bold, Mo Wagner. Not going to happen. That's all I'm going to say. Next, I'm going to go Trey Lyles. He is going to be kind of bold, but kind of logical. I'm not sure if we'd actually be interested in Trey, but again, I wouldn't mind Trey Lyles, right? I really wouldn't. He'd be a great player for the 14th spot. And then, of course, because everyone's going to be asking, my last trade target, LeBron James. I put him at the very back because in order to even think about this, you would have to gut so much of this roster just to match salary. And then you'd have to match the freaking, $50-some million that he's making? Not going to happen. Straight up, not going to happen. So look at that. I went about 25 minutes, of course. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and we'll see how the Cavs fill these final 2 roster spots. Most likely they'll fill the 14th spot before the season, and then the 15th spot probably near the end of the season, if they continue on that trend. So yeah, with that being said, if any other things happen, like a trade or a signing go down, you already know I'll be right here waiting. So be sure, as always, to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that bell for when I go live and post new videos. My next Guardians stream will be tomorrow, 4th of July, against the Tigers. That'll be fun. And I'll have my preview for that series and the recap of the Cubs series probably tonight or tomorrow afternoon. So keep an eye out for that. But with that being said, I'm Crazy Dog. Let's go Cavs. And I'm out. Bye-bye. Yeah.